So when Jesus gives you health, gives you wealth, gives you whatever it is, any gifting, any talent, it's actually for the benefit of others, right? So this Peter's mother-in-law, she kind of role modeled what it should be, right? When Jesus gives you health or wealth or something, you're supposed to turn around and essentially use
Serve
that to serve
others.
others.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's deep.
Yep. Hello, good morning from the beautiful Orlando, Florida. Welcome to another Bible study session
In His presence.
My name is Ugo.
My name is Ada.
Today we're coming to you live from Orlando, Florida. We just took some time with the family to go hang out. It's spring break. And we're like, you know what? It's still always Bible study in His presence, even if we're on vacation. So like, what the heck?
There's no vacation from the Word of God.
Yep. We're always in His presence.
Yeah.
So just a quick continuation of our study of the Gospel of Matthew. We're like, let's just do a quick 30 minutes video, and then we can go back and have all the fun back there. All right.
Okay.
So chapter 8, right? The last time when we ended, we were talking about like chapter 7, where we came across the ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. And today in chapter 8, we're actually following up with that. So if I go through the reading quickly, I think we wanted to start with the first section where Jesus encountered a man with leprosy. So it says, when he came down from the mountain, great multitude followed him, and behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was clean.
Yeah.
And Jesus said unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, shew thyself to the priest, and offer the gifts that Moses commanded for a testimony unto thee. So when I read that initially, I was like, I like what the man's expression of his faith was very interesting, because he understood that Jesus had the power, right? He said, if thou wilt, right? So there's no other thing that's holding him. Just if God so will, right? He knows his leprosy can be cured, and that was very powerful. Hearing that coming from a leper.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the thing with the leprosy, right, is the fact that in those days, right, when you're considered a leper, right, it's not just the physical pain you're going through; it's also the spiritual significance, because it's interpreted to mean that you're unclean, right? There's a sin you've committed that brought that leprosy, which is why like they are considered outcasts, right? They stay out of the city gates, and what they do is different from everybody. They don't welcome them with the rest of the group. So the fact that Jesus heals this man, he shows this ability to heal not just our physical ailments, but also even our spiritual ailments, and that's something I think is worthy of note.
And so I read this verse again. I see, lepers are like, there's a social stigma attached to them. Like they should not come close to people in society. They stay in their like lepers habitation, and nobody can even like touch them.
Yeah.
But here, Jesus, when the man said, "If thou wilt, thou can make me clean," and Jesus put forth his hand and touched him.
You guys are having fun?
Yeah, okay. We saw.
Alright, go stand over there.
We saw real lizards.
All right, you gotta go back to the playground and give me like 10 minutes, okay?
Come back in 10 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
We can see you from there. And don't touch any lizards, okay?
Come.
We didn't touch them. We looked at them.
Okay.
All right, you can go. Okay, 10 minutes and then you'll be back, okay? Okay. All right.
So Jesus was not irritated or because he sees us in our weaknesses and imperfections, and then he put forth his hand and he touched him. So people around him, people were like, how are you touching this leprous man? Because you can also get leprosy. But he touched him, so and then immediately the man was cleansed. So that was also striking, that God doesn't turned away from us on account of our
Yeah.
sin or sicknesses, but He
Yeah.
comes to us to make us clean,
And
both
that-
spiritually and physically.
And that just reminded me of Psalm 91, right? Towards the end of it, it talks about that I will be with you in trouble, right? So it's the willingness of Jesus to not just deliver us from our predicament, but to also endure it with us, to go through it with us, right?
Yes.
And he's not scared to touch this guy, even though there's the risk of him being infected, but obviously he has the power over leprosy.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
So he wanted to break that barrier to say, no, I can actually touch you and make you well.
And make you well. Yeah.
And when we moved to the other story about another healing, what I liked in that other story was, so this first story about the leper, it was somebody making intercession for themselves, right? He was pleading to Jesus to heal him, right? He was asking for something for himself. The other one about the centurion, which I'm going to read now from verse 5, it says, and when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou should come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh. I'm going to fast forward to what Jesus said. He said, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. So this is a case of somebody, right, making intercession for another person, right? And in both cases, Jesus hearkened unto
He
them.
hearkened unto their cry.
Right? In this case, it was a centurion. I'm like, when I was reading this initially, I felt, wow, this servant has to be a very good servant to make their master go all this way.
All this way to
go,
ask for.
to go and get help for them. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. Like, the servant must have been a very faithful servant that the master could not bear to lose him to death. I'm sure he has several other servants, but he came unto Jesus. And this is this Roman centurion, or this centurion, whatever. Roman centurion coming unto Jesus. So, first of all, there was that division or barrier between followers of Jesus and the Romans, because the Romans were against him, because they were like, you're trying to be a king and create a new kingdom. But this man obviously was a man of faith, even though he was a Roman centurion. And then he came, and his word to Jesus saying, you don't even have to come to my house, just send the word and it will happen. Like, it strikes me when Jesus himself commends you for faith. Like, that shows that your faith is a solid faith. And I have not found so great faith. No, not in Israel. And this is someone who is not even a Jew or an Israelite, a Roman centurion. Jesus is commenting that he has not seen faith, even among the chosen. This is someone that's from a Gentile, having more faith than the chosen. So I think the lesson for me there is not to limit myself on account of, how they say, Jews or Gentiles, whatever, male or female. But God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't look at where you're from. What he looks at is your heart and your faith in him. And that really pleased Jesus greatly, to see that faith in him.
The other thing, though, is the fact that this man was relating to Jesus from his own experience. Because he was a Roman soldier, right? He understands authority. He understands order, right? And he brought that his experience while he's interacting with Jesus. And every one of us have a different experience, right? Whatever your profession is, right? It's a way for us to see how we can reach God with our own experience. For example, if you're into finance, right? Somebody that's into finance always want their books to be balanced, right? You want your sheet, your credit and your debit side, you want to balance your account at all times, right? So, well, if you're having issues with fund and all this, you have to know that God also, that created you, also understand that, right? So you can communicate to God in that regard, that oh Lord, please help me to to get these
Yeah.
things in order, right?
Yeah.
Because you're somebody that likes to get things in order.
Right.
If you're a doctor, you treat people with complex issue, and guess who created the complex person? It's God, right? You can also ask God to help you in that complexity. So it's a reminder that whatever profession you are in, right, you can actually use that experience when you relate with God, because God
Yeah.
understands your experience and He
Yes.
can see your faith. And this man was actually doing that same thing.
And there's something that I used to say God meets us where we are. He knows how to relate to us with the things that we understand. Yeah.
Now, after this miracle, right, we moved over to Peter's house, where Jesus came in and saw the mother-in-law. She was lying in bed sick, right? So these three different miracles, what I've noticed, so the first one was the leper making intercession for himself, right? On the centurion, it was somebody making intercession for somebody else, right? In this case, there was no mention of either Peter asking Jesus to heal the mother-in-law or the mother-in-law asking Jesus to heal her. We're told that Jesus came in and saw that she was down, and He just went over and lay hand on her and healed her.
That's true.
And when I read that, what came to my mind is the fact that there are many times we pray to God and we thank Him for this and that and this and that, but we forget to thank Him for so many other things that we didn't even ask for, right? We either did not ask for them, or we didn't even know He did. We didn't even know what He did, right? Or the obstacle, or the hindrance, or the provision that He made, right? So when I was reading that, I was like, that was very interesting. This woman did not even ask. Just the presence of Jesus in the house was actually what was needed for her to be healed.
Yeah. I think as you're talking about it, I just got an understanding of this, and like the different ways God answers prayers, or the different ways in which God does things for us. First, the prayers that we ask for ourselves. Well, you talk about it. Second is the intercession of others, and the third is just being in a constant atmosphere where God's presence is. He brings healing in areas that we don't even ask about. Because there's so much that we think we need, but God knows even the ones that we don't know that we need. But when we are always in that atmosphere of like our lifestyle is a lifestyle of devotion, of worshiping, of prayer, of communing with God in His Word, He brings healing in other areas that we don't even pray about. Yeah.
And the other thing to this story also is the fact that the moment the woman was healed, she woke up, right, and she started administering to others, right? So it's like a way to also remind us, like, we are at the service of our fellow men, right? So when Jesus gives you health, gives you wealth, gives you whatever it is, any gifting, any talent, it's actually for the benefit of others, right? So this Peter's mother-in-law, she kind of role modeled what it should be, right? When Jesus gives you health or wealth or something, you're supposed to turn around and essentially use
serve
that to
others.
serve others.
Yeah. That's deep.
And I think to just wrap up, if we scroll all the way down towards the end, I think we encounter the story. So with all this miracle, obviously a crowd is beginning to gather, right? And Jesus told His disciples, let's go to the other side, right? And they got on a boat. So from verse 23, it says, you can read from 23.
And when He was entered into a ship, His disciples followed Him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but He was asleep. And His disciples came to Him and awoke Him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And He said unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then He arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey Him?
Interesting. So the part that struck when I read this was the part where Jesus was like, "Oh, ye men of little faith," right? I'm sure there was a little bit of, "What are you doing? Like, you've seen me do all these things, right? You've been with me. You've seen me heal a leper that's like a taboo. You don't touch them. I just touched the leper and it was healed.
And I didn't get leprosy. Yeah. Not that the person got healed.
Yeah. You saw me tell somebody that the servant that's like way off at home, I didn't even have to go. I just said a word, and somebody that's like 5 miles away got healed instantly. Right? You just see me come into a room and somebody that was down, suddenly she's up and going. So why are you still this scared when I am around? Like the fact that I'm here should give. So Jesus expected more from them, and that's what for us Christians, right? They say to whom much is given, much is expected. So for us Christians that we've had the word of God and we've had all this experience, it's interesting that when we run into any issue, like our first reaction is like fear or like
it's all over.
Trepidation. Yeah, like, oh my God.
They said we perish.
Yeah, like and these are people that are like, they are seen, most of them, right? They are fishermen, right? So like I'm sure they've seen storm before. Right? This is not the first storm they've seen. So the fact that they didn't think about, oh, Jesus is here, right? But they panicked and went to him. I think Jesus was just like, hey,
you've seen all these things.
Yeah, you've seen all these things. I expected more from you, right? So he got up and he spoke to the wind and the storm, and again they obeyed and they were quiet. And they were like, oh, we've never seen anybody like this, right? Which has been like the consistent theme in this Matthew, right? At the end of each chapter, remember one of the chapters, they were like, oh my God, this guy is different from the Pharisees and the Sadducees because he speaks with authority, right? After the Sermon on the Mountain, they were like, oh, this man comes with a different kind of teaching, right? And he teaches with, so there's always that. At the end of the day, people are like, oh my God, this is something different, this is something new.
Yeah. I really like how this particular Bible version sections each part of this chapter. So power over disease, which we talked about, like how he healed the leper and the centurion servant. Power over men, power over nature when he calmed the storm. And power over devils, which is the concluding part of this chapter from chapter 28.
The man that was possessed by
yes, and then the man's demons ran into the pigs, and then the pigs ran down the hill. So it shows that Jesus has power over every kind of situation in life that we can face. From disease to nature to demonic influences, whatever. Jesus is able to come through for us and deliver us. That's literally why he came. He came to deliver us. He came to save us and to set us free from everything that's held us captive. So whatever you may be going through, whatever challenge, this is a reminder to you that Jesus, we have seen the examples of how he has saved people in the Bible and how he's still saving us even till today. So whatever you may be going through today, there's always hope. You are not perishing for those who believe in Jesus. And if you don't believe in Jesus, I encourage you to call upon him and ask him to come into your heart and be your Lord and to reveal himself to you. Because that's one thing I love about Christianity. Every other faith is like people are trying to force their ideologies on you. But in Christianity, we say, you come and let God reveal himself. God reveals himself to us, because you can know all about the Bible in your head, but until you have a personal revelation of God in your heart, it's not taking you anywhere. It's not going to do anything for you. So I encourage you to invite God to reveal himself to you through Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and just to wrap up, right? So all those different stories we've gone through and all the different miracles, I think it should also be something we're keeping, right, in our memory, right? Because at some point you're going to face some challenges, right?
Yes.
You just need to remember, it's like a student that goes to class, and from the week 1, week 2, week 3, you're learning new skills and new ideas on how to solve problems. On the day of the exam, right, you want to recall all those formulas, all those definitions, right, to help you. So in the same way, like in life, we're going to face different challenges every now and then. Remember, there's somebody that had leprosy and Jesus healed him. Oh, remember, there's a storm, right? Jesus calmed the storm. Remember, there's somebody that was sick, distance away, right? Maybe you got a call that your brother or your sister somewhere is sick. Well, distance is not a barrier with God, right?
At all.
So you call all this experience when you go to God, right? Like I mentioned, whatever profession you are, you're a civil engineer, you design structure, you make sure you do the best design. Guess what? Jesus designed you and made you perfect. So if you're sick, you want to tell God that, God, if you're the one that really created me, well, you got to take care of this infirmity or this this design that's out of whack, right? Because when I do my job as an engineer, I make sure I do the best design, right? There's a problem in the code, I know how to go and debug the code. So if there's a problem in my body, God can debug that bug or whatever it is.
Yes.
So God has, so when you relate to God,
Though we also have our own role to play. I don't mean to dispute what you say. What you say,
No, true.
100%. But we also have our own part to play in taking care of our body.
Oh,
like
definitely.
the civil engineering design. Also, there's a maintenance piece to the building. No matter how grand your design is, if it's not well maintained, it can crumble or lose its lifetime or whatever. So the same way also our bodies, we are meant to also take care of our bodies and maintain it properly.
All right, guys, so we'll hand it over to you now to let us know what you think in the comment section about Matthew chapter 8. Let us know what perspective you have. We would like to learn from you guys. It's been an awesome time hanging with you.
Yes.
Please like and subscribe, share this with your friends, and we will see you when we come again next time.
And also, I know you don't also have to agree with everything we've said. If you have some opposing points of views, put it in the comments and we can talk and discuss it, because we are all here to learn from each other. All right, thank you. We'll see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.